Hello, hello, hello. My name is Star Holmes-Word. I am out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. And today is Friday, October 25th, 2019. I happen to be just kind of chilling on my front porch today. And so if you hear airplanes coming overhead, that is why I'm outside. But I wanted to sit here just on a relaxing morning, having my coffee, and have a little conversation. And I decided that I would videotape this. And so I took a few notes and I wanted to talk about menopause. I looked up menopause on YouTube, and there are some things out there, but there wasn't a lot that I could find, particularly African American women just talking about their experiences with menopause, right? And this morning I chuckled when I thought about menopause because I thought, I use this phrase that I often say that I was on a life pause. So, first off, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, and I'm an author. And I talked about coming off of a life pause. If you follow me anywhere on social media, you may have heard that. If not, you know that I came off of a 7-year life pause when I got into the coaching arena. And today I was thinking about the life pause and how I've been on a life pause for the last year. But really, today, it really became clear to me that I really have been on a menopause. And I love it. When I thought about it, I was tickled with my own self. So listen, I wrote some things down that I wanted to make sure I accomplished to have a conversation about and to target on this particular live video for YouTube, okay, and my YouTube channel. And thank you for joining my YouTube channel, by the way. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share as well if you find great content on my YouTube channel, which I'm just building. So I'm really excited about that, guys. Okay, so let me stay focused today because I really want to talk about menopause. Oh, guess what else? I'm on my front porch and like I have my fire lit. Like I put the fire, I have a fire pit out here on the front porch. And so to keep me warm, it's a chilly day today here in Nashville. A good, real crisp autumn day. So I'm loving it. So I thank you for being here with me and sharing some time with me. So again, my name is Star Holmes-Word and I am based in the Nashville, Tennessee area, right outside of Nashville area. And today I want to talk to you about menopause. It's Friday, October 25th, 2019. What is menopause? So research varies is what I found about menopause, but most research pinpoints that menopause or premenopause, pre or perimenopause happens between your late 30s and into your 40s. Menopause is the year that women stop having a period, which indicates that our childbearing years have come to a close. Okay. So something that I noticed in the last few years when I'm, examining myself and I'm looking at how I have changed or what I've been looking like, how I've been acting, how I have responded to things, how I am feeling, how my patterns of behavior have changed because I've been looking at those things for myself. A few years ago, probably about 2 years ago, I entered into the coaching, speaking, and writing arena, right? Becoming an author. And I remember that when I entered into that arena after that 7-year pause of I had had a child, I had gotten married, my child finally went to kindergarten, I came back to working and became an entrepreneur again, and all of those great things. I realized that I was so excited when I realized this next level of life that I was going into on my journey with coaching, speaking, and writing. This last year has really been a struggle for me. And I just really started examining what is this struggle about? What is happening in my own life with myself, with my mental health, with my physical health, with my well-being? What is happening? So I started to realize, and I realized probably 3 years ago-ish, maybe even 3.5 years ago, that there were some things happening with my body in terms of the physical signs that I was getting ready to go into menopause. So maybe the period premenopause, as they might call it, right? So, for instance, I realized that my menstrual was lessening more and more and more, to the fact where there might be 3 to 4 months that I've been going without having a period, and then I had maybe went through a month or two in the last year where, or the year before, yeah, within the last year, within the last 12 months, that I may have had two semi, what we might call a period, for you ladies to know what I'm talking about. And it wasn't a full on, but I noticed that the cramps were there. I noticed there was some signs of having menopause, having a period, even if it wasn't full head on, like a good 7 day. It wasn't like that, but maybe 4, 5, something like that. And then it went away, and it also came with the cramps. And I have been without cramps and really having periods for probably 3 years now, really, off and on. Just some spotty and things like that. So, what are some of the signs of menopause? So, some of the signs in the research that I have looked at, and I can certainly say, and I'll give you my advice about some of the things that happened for me, myself personally, and some of the things didn't happen to me in my case. So one of the things are hot flashes. It talks about a lot about hot flashes. When you do the research about menopause, it will talk about the hot flashes. You've heard other women that's going through the change that talk about the hot flashes. Well, for me, I can honestly say that I only had a few hot flashes in the last 3.5 years. I will be 39 this March, and I've only had a few hot flashes. Now, there was one particular hot flash that I can remember, and it happened this year in 2019. The hot flash came on me, and it was like, have you ever started a good roaring fire and you moved real close to the fire and stood there for just a few seconds, and all of a sudden this whole side of you that was standing in front of that fire became extremely hot? That's like the best way I can explain what that felt like. It was like heat came on me and it just went away. It was a really quick hot flash and it went away, but it was extremely hot. That is the way that I can say it. That's the only way that I can say it. And I hear that other women have experienced lots of those types of hot flashes with sweating or waking up in the night with night sweats. I didn't really experience that too often. Very little hot flashes for myself personally. So that's one of the things to look out. Oh, one thing that I do remember is that I have felt cold more often than hot. I have experienced being cold. Now, I should also say to you that I've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So I have some complications that go along with having type 2 diabetes, and having type 2 diabetes that I did not address in a timely manner. So now I deal with some complications to type 2 diabetes. So sometimes some of the things that have been happening to me personally, I really thought it was an indication of the undealt with type 2 diabetes. But now that I've been doing the research about menopause, some of these things are contributed to diabetes, but some of these things are also contributed to menopause. And so learning and knowing your body is why it's so important to know your body, so that you know when something is different and you can sort of target what direction to look in for this difference, to try to figure out, okay, what can I do to help my body, right? So that's one of the things. Yeah, so I had a few. They went away quickly. One of the next things is mood swings that they talk about, having mood swings. Now, I can honestly say, ladies and any gentleman, yes, I personally experienced a lot of mood swings over the past few years. Now, with the type 2 diabetes, once again, I have to say that I have also experienced mood swings with the type 2 diabetes when my blood sugar levels are not where they need to be. They are not copacetic. They're up and they're down, and I'm not watching them as closely as I should. That can also be the cause of having mood swings. So I've experienced mood swings from that, and I've also experienced mood swings from the premenopause or perimenopause, what have you. Yes, all of that. I can explain it like this. There's a time when you feel like, or I felt like, someone else's emergency. I'll give you that one. Someone else's emergency or lack of preparation for their emergency is not my emergency. I was really like, I'm going to need you to please deal with your business and your stuff and not try to hand it over to me because I don't have the capacity for your stuff right now. That's being real with you. That's how I feel. And that's how I have felt for a little while now. It's been like that. They say that exercise can help. One of the issues with the complications of the diabetes is that I have something now called neuropathy, and it's nerve damage in the feet. It is horrific. Please, if you have type 2 diabetes, take care of yourself so you don't get this nerve damage in your feet. It limits exercise. It limits movement. You have to be put on medication to try to help with the pain. You deal with chronic pain because of neuropathy. So that is one of the things for me. I cannot exercise the way that I used to be able to, 8-9 years ago. And so I can see a difference in my body. We'll talk about the eating stuff in a minute. So I do notice that I eat better in the last few years. I crave veggies when I'm not eating enough fruits and veggies, when I'm not eating enough green leafy vegetables. I notice that my body craves it, and I have to go get it. My body still craves it. Do I still crave for chips and things like that I like? Yes, I just changed. I don't really eat potato chips like I used to. Love potato chips. Once in a blue moon, I have to have a smoked turkey sandwich with some potato chips on the top with the mayonnaise and the white bread. I love that. But anyway, I don't eat it often anymore. Now, I moved over to tortilla chips and salsa, things like that. Still a crunch, something yummy, but not as bad for me as the potato chips, right? Some of the other things they say that will help with mood swings is to stop smoking. I'm a smoker. I haven't stopped smoking. So that's something I have to address in my own personal life. They say lessen your caffeine. I'm a coffee drinker. I'm a tea drinker. And those things do have caffeine, so that's something that I have to address in my own personal life. Lessen your alcohol intake. I don't drink very often, very much, so that part I don't really have to worry about. It says lessen spices. That's hard for me. I like different types of different ethnics of foods. I like to try different foods. I like different spices, so I can't have it as often as I might like to. So that's something, I can address. I can do that differently. The next thing is difficulty with sleeping. I have noticed in the last few years that I have struggled with some difficulty sleeping off and on, or some insomnia, if you will, things like that. And basically, I just try to regulate my blood sugars. It is difficult for me. I mean, it becomes a real part of your life on an everyday basis, in increments every day, to check your blood sugar levels. And if you're insulin dependent, to take the amount of insulin, and knowing how much to take according to where your blood sugars are, and all of these kinds of things. It's a real task in your life, but to be healthier, because I didn't do it before, and now I'm trying to get healthier, or as healthy as I can get. Those are the things that I really have to start focusing more on. And so yes, I have to. So yes, I have to agree with that. I have had and experienced the difficulty with sleeping from time to time. The other thing it talks about is depression, and I have to be completely honest with you on this one. I experience depression, and we don't often talk about that. I don't remember sitting in a circle of women that really talked about the menopause and depression in the same sentence ever. I absolutely have experienced depression, sadness, and anxiety. All three of those. And sometimes so bad that they all three come on me at the same time. Now, for me, the difference is is that I am awake to the fact of what is happening to my body, and that my body is going through some changes physically, mentally, spiritually, holistically. And so when I feel these things attacking my body, my mind, my spirit, you know, I get to reframe my thoughts about, how I handle them, what I do for myself, what I'm saying to myself, how I'm affirming myself, how I'm, addressing the issues that come up for me, and knowing my triggers as well. Okay. I remember thinking one day that I have experienced a loss of the great and deep joy that I've always felt on the inside. God had given me this great sense of joy on the inside of my body. And as some traumatic things have happened in life, I attributed it to that. But now, as I look at my life a little bit differently, and all the different patterns and phases of life that's going on, including the menopause, I do believe that some of the loss of the feeling of that great joy does or is attributed to the fact that I'm going through the menopause. Because I'm still a happy individual, but there is this deep feeling that change on the inside of me. And what I do for myself is I let myself know and be okay with my body's changing. I'm in transition. It's okay not to feel exactly the same way I used to 10 years ago. Allow the space and time for the transition to happen. Ride the wave on some of this, okay? Being aware and attuned to who you are and how you need to meet your emotional, physical, and your health needs, and all of those things at the same time. Um, hmm So I was just reading my note here, and it was talking about how I, don't make other people's emergency or what is going on in the life of other people. I can't put that on me at this time. I don't have the capacity to, pull in a lot of my girlfriends, my, other people that my other coaches in the arena, family members. I just don't have the capacity to hold everybody's space right now, if you will. Not at this time. I find myself seeking peace. Peace is really important to me right now in this phase of my life. What does that look like for me? Did you hear that? That was the wood falling after it breaks from being hot and burning. It's really nice to have the fire out here and enjoy that while I talk to you. But see, that's one of those peace things. So that's one of those things I'm doing personally to take care of myself, to bring peace to my environment and my space, cultivating the space that feels good and is good for me to be mentally and emotionally healthy right now. That's what you have to do. Sometimes we forget to be a little bit selfish. Do that for you. Be a little bit selfish sometimes. So yes, that's my seeking peace with a vengeance is what I call it right now in my life. Right now I am seeking peace with a vengeance. Okay. I even play music in the house. If you have a Google, everybody has a Google port, right? So I'm like, hey Google, play me spa relaxing music in the house, and I play this all through the house sometimes because I just need to soak up peacefulness in my soul. If you are a believer in whatever you believe in, I'm a Christ believer, and I play, sometimes soaking music that penetrates my soul, and it's healthy for my mental and my soul to be good, in a good place, in a healthy, enriched environment. And so it is important to me to take control of the atmosphere. Remember that you take control of your atmosphere. I have no time for pettiness, um, and little fires that you have to put out and all of that. I just don't have the capacity for that stuff right now. So, I deal with what I have to deal with when I need to deal with it in the level of importance and whatever it is. And the other stuff, I have to let that stuff roll off my back. The other things that it said we might deal with, and I have to say some of these things I have. Definitely memory loss. Excuse me, I did notice that I deal with some memory loss. Cloudy thinking. Cloudy thinking was huge for me. And in having type 2 diabetes, I also noticed that cloudy thinking was very, very much a part of the type 2 diabetes. And it can be very irritating because I'm the type of person, I'm a 1, 2, 3, ABC, let's go, let's get it right here, let's get it done. Let's do it. Grab the bull by the horns type of girl. And with the cloudy thinking, and also, having issues with vision due to type 2 diabetes and also getting older, oh, that hurts, ladies. That's a herder for me, okay, personally. Sorry, guys, I had to readjust here. So the cloudy thinking is an issue, and it will get better. That's the good thing about it. It will get better with healthier eating, with taking care of ourselves, with drinking more water, and, see your physician if you need to. I didn't find that my personal physician was helpful to me in this, and so I am seeking a different physician so that I can feel like I'm in alignment with my team in helping the things that I have going on with my health and my personal situation. So make sure you have a good physician that is a part of your team, and they're not just telling you what to do, but they're giving you the options of what you can do to get better, to feel better, to be with your health at its optimal best, right? Another thing, we talked about that a little bit earlier, is the sadness. Sadness might come upon you, and great sadness might come upon you. I choose to reframe my way of thinking about that as if to say that it's okay that I'm in a grieving period, if you will. No pun intended. But I am in a grieving period. We are in a grieving period. We're in a grieving period for the loss of who we were and who we are becoming. So we can grieve the loss of who we were, and that time has passed. But now let's begin to learn to celebrate us as we move in transition. Did you hear what I said? Learn to let that part be a grief. That's fine. However you choose to grieve the loss of no longer being able to bear children in that physical way. And now we transition into a place of celebratory wisdom, is what I call it. That's what I call it, celebratory wisdom. Yes, that's where we're going now. That's where we're going. How do I do this? For me, I choose to do it with quietness, peaceful times. I don't feel good in big crowds right now. So no, you're not crazy if you find that I feel panicked in a crowd. I don't feel good. Something feels off. Hey, yeah, it might be. Pay attention to your body and do what you need to do to be better, to feel better, to live in a healthy lifestyle for yourself. I use quiet music that I told you about a little bit earlier. I use herbs. Talk to your doctor, do your research, find out what things can help you. I'm not a doctor in any way, so I don't, tell anybody to subscribe to anything that I am doing. Do your own personal research. Speak to your own physician about what your needs are and what you need to do. And don't forget to spend some alone time with yourself. That is very important. I know as women, a lot of times we take on the struggle of others. We are problem solvers. But sometimes trauma comes around these times in our life, and it's really crucial for us to pay attention to what's happening with our body, even as we deal with the trauma that comes, because life still happens. Life still happens. And as women, sometimes we have a tendency to sort of carry this really powerful position in our homes, with our husbands, with our families. We have to keep it all together. We have to be the person that does all the marketing. We have to be the person that keeps everything in order. We have to make sure that the laundry is done. We have to make sure the house is clean, the food is cooked, or the reservations are made, or we make sure the housekeeper is coming. We find the housekeeper, we interview the house, whatever it is. Sometimes learn to let go of some of the power. Delegate if that's what you need. Delegate and be okay to be uncomfortable for a little while with relinquishing some power. It might not feel good at first. It didn't for me, but that's something that I've been doing, the inner work within myself for some years now. And so it becomes more comfortable after doing that work for a period of time, what I call doing the work, the inner work in ourselves, right? Yeah. I also have dealt with a lot of body aches, which two parts again, type 2 diabetes does come along with some joint aching. But with the menopause, the body aches have increased, I guess is a good way to say it. I noticed that my body aches more. It almost feels sometimes like I have the flu, the symptoms of that. And so it goes away. I take a little Tylenol, I take a little ibuprofen or whatever. For me, that's what I choose to do. And it goes away. I drink more water. That's another thing that I find is really, really important. Cutting back on sodas and pops and sweet juices and drinks and things like that. For me, that stuff does not do my body good. My body does not like it. Headaches, that's another sign. And I have noticed in the last few years that I have dealt with headaches. I have experienced more headaches, and they say that could be because of the fluctuation in your estrogen levels. So I have noticed that as well. We may become more sensitive to social rejection. I have noticed that. Yeah, I'm being real transparent with you ladies today. I have become more sensitive to social rejection. So therefore, holding my space in a quiet sense and just allowing me to be me right now is a comfortable place for me to be during this transition to my celebration of wisdom, right? Yes. It can also lead to depression. And I told you I do feel the times that I have suffered from depression, anxiety, and sadness. Yes. Telling myself I am more than enough. Doing deep breathing exercises, whatever those self-affirmations are that you need to pour into yourself, whatever studying of wisdom materials that you study, your biblical studies, whatever they are, those things are probably really important for you at that time. You are open and continue to be open for your wisdom, your level of wisdom to increase and grow as God does that for you during this time, because now you're moving to another level of wisdom, a place in which you now need to be able to share this either with other women who struggle, because part of this sometimes is that people have thoughts of suicide, and that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And we need to be having these conversations so that people don't think they're going crazy. And so they think they want to take themselves out. You're not going crazy. Your body is going through changes. And we can make it through. But let's start holding the space for one another, having conversations like this, having time with each other, spending time with each other, celebrating in our own way the transition to wisdom, as I call it, as we're going through menopause. Spending quality time with other women, holding that space for them and hugging on them and loving on them hard. God gave me the opportunity to do that this past week and really love and hug on another woman hard who was in a really difficult space. And I am very humbled and really, really honored to have been able to do that for another sister and with another sister. Time alone is important, but when you need to engage, know that that's important as well. So be careful about spending too much time alone. And then take your time to research. Do the research. Do this, go look at the studies, what they're saying. Go look at the studies and journal. Journal during this time. Write it down, what you're feeling, what was going on. Journal about it. And some days you won't be able to journal, ladies, and it's okay if you're not able to journal. And don't forget to say I'm sorry. If you did something that hurt other people during one of your mood swings, say I'm sorry. Go back and hug on them later and let them know. I've had to. I would snap at one of my kids and my husband, and I have had to apologize for my behavior because I am accountable to my behavior regardless of what my body's going through. I still am accountable to my behavior. This is a sacred time. You're becoming more wise to be open to the increase in wisdom. Share this with other queens and share this with other young women that will enter this space as well one day, God willing, and He is willing. My name is Star Holmes-Word. Thank you for spending this time with me on YouTube. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Much love. And don't forget, hold your space as sacred.